All right, ongoing documentation, and you can see the light source. It's not going anywhere. That's a demon that is indeed pacing around while the light source is covered up in clouds, and it's in the same exact spot. I can't make that documentation up that you saw yesterday, that the entity also saw, and that's why today you have what's supposed to be a clear appearing as a cloudy day. It engaging what is the exact same criminal surveillance. And so you're going to remember how the light source remained over Upland Public Library, and the majority of the videos that you saw LAPD group stalking here under what's not possibly the sun, while you're remembering a group stalker is remaining present in my path, which is group stalking, and he's holding a piece of paper, which is a demon that's engaging in nothing other than pacing in the same exact specific environment. The light source is right here in the same exact position where you see it every day, and the entity is engaging in that same criminal surveillance using a helicopter like you see it every day. Okay, it is currently 11:03 a.m. and you're looking at what is light activity while the entity is covering up a light source. None of this is the natural environment when I'm showing you the sun rising through my living room window and engineered light into the depths of my apartment, which is no iteration of the natural environment anyway, because sunlight doesn't do that. And you're looking at that's at 7 in the morning, and then when you're looking through that same apartment, 1806, apartment number 6 on the 3rd floor, you're looking at the light source, which is supposed to be the sun, but you're remembering that it's 11 hours later. Let's count 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, after 5, that's over 10 hours, 11 hours later. And you're looking at what's supposed to be sunlight aimed through the same exact apartment, magnified leaves blowing in trees through magnified light. You saw that light through the hallway of my apartment through closed blinds. Yeah, that's not, none of that's the sun, nor is that the sunlight, nor is that sunlight, nor is that the behavior of sunlight, nor can you possibly see blinds appearing through closed blinds, the cracks and creating magnified light in the trees and the blowing through crack. None of that is natural or possible. It's demonic. And I want you to be clear, while you're looking at light activity, the light source is in the same place that you saw it yesterday as you've been looking at it for the past couple of months while I'm showing the state of California engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct while I'm in LA. And you're also remembering that it does not change from day to day. So the entity, after my exposing what it was doing yet again on another day, covering up the light source today, and you know that that's deliberate conduct, because the sun is never going to be present at one address for 11 hours in a day, because sunlight is not going to pierce through closed blinds and appear magnified in size, showing the shadow of the trees, which is what the magnified light creates, the shape of that which it's touching. So while that engineered light is touching the leaves on the tree, while it's shooting like a laser through my closed blinds, it's appearing magnified on the walls. None of that is natural. Okay, you're not going to forget that while the entity is today covering up a light source, and all this is light activity getting bright and getting dimmer, bright and dimmer, while you have what is the maintenance of a group stalker who is engaging in pacing, but this demonic pacing, he wants to appear as though he's focusing on reading a play. It's relevant positioning and it's audible activity while he's engaging in what is harassment by an entity. And on the opposite side is the laundry room, and you know what the demon possessed, the third-party group stalkers that live at Alvarado Gardens are doing, maintaining criminal presence and engineered light. Documentation of the maintenance of the light source, 8:47 through this window, 4:18 p.m. through the same laundry room in the other window, and you saw engineered light appearing at the heights of the wall inside of that laundry room. This is what is group stalking, while the same exact criminal stalking in helicopters and airplanes is underway, and that's exactly what you hear. This is Alvarado Gardens, and it's 11:05 a.m. 11:05 a.m. yesterday, you saw the light source. 24 hours later, we're all an entity that's employing demonic methods of targeting someone, which is criminal surveillance in violation also of Title 18. It doesn't change the next day. This is revealing to you what is demonic. Okay, so I want to be clear, the deliberation behind the demonic employing some sort of tactic which is in no way confusing or contradicting or removing what was already documented. So I want to make sure I speak to that. The entity is amplifying sirens. The entity is still engaging in perpetual presence through helicopter and maintaining perpetual presence like the third party who you saw pacing around holding a piece of paper, a non-resident who is present engaging with all of the residents at Alvarado Gardens. It's one entity. It's not separate. Tiffany Sherez, that's funny, both of those meanings. Tiffany Sherez could go stand there and do the same thing. They're the same entity. They have a non-resident go and engage in what is pacing. And the entity is engaging, keeping the light source still right here over me, which is impossible to be the case. So the entity is engaging in what is still stalking by helicopter, still the same exact pattern of conduct. You will not forget what's documented. There is no contradicting it. But this is what an entity that's observing its exposure and desperately looking for some way to try to contradict or trip up the targeted individual when I'm revealing to you what is the system and the criminal elements which remain present at all time, including at nightfall. Okay, it is currently again 11:07 a.m. and this is what is criminal presence while you're listening to helicopter activity. This is what smart janitorial is doing. The same thing. This is a demon that's just reading a play. This is what the United States Postal Service is doing. He's doing the same thing. He's just reading a piece of paper like he's reciting a play. He's stalking in the path. Whatever the entity is doing is legally irrelevant. It's criminal presence on behalf of the state who's stalking obsessively in helicopters and maintaining a specific environment. The light source is still right here, and the way how it's getting brighter and dimmer is called light activity. All right, and this is stalking in the path with light. All right, this is P.O.C. I want to be clear, it's 11:08 a.m. and this is ongoing criminal surveillance that's underway at Alvarado Gardens. Alvarado Gardens, the entity using a non-resident to come onto the grounds and engage in the P.O.C. just like you saw yesterday. The group stalkers that are coming onto the grounds, and you're looking at the identical behavior. What is impossible? Impossible light moving across the asphalt and across the buildings while they're doing something as common as just driving. That's an ongoing connection of everybody that's at a specific environment, in a specific environment. They happen to have a light source over their head, which is not possibly the sun, contrary to what the entity would have you think. This is a demon-possessed entity that's engaging in criminal surveillance in California, in the U.S. All right, and that deceiving environment is what I'm using as a vivid illustration with regard to what was surrounding me in a totally different region. It doesn't change by virtue of the entity covering up the light source. When you're looking at the evidence of the demonic, the supernatural, when the light source is covered up by what's supposed to be clouds, it doesn't erase the fact that it was ever there. And you also know that it's still there. It's underneath the clouds. That's how you're getting light activity, getting brighter and getting dimmer. It's akin to turning a flashlight on and off. It's akin to a demon using their hazard lights, flashing lights. That's what's going on in the environment, while a demon is stalking in the path, and the same exact entity is stalking in helicopter. It does not change. It is currently 11:09 a.m. This is P.O.C. Everybody, like I said, buildings 1800 to buildings 1818 going to federal prison. And the entity is monitoring through the corporate office in Palo Alto, repeatedly calling Kim Fletcher, who knows that I am reviewing my documentation. Oh, Erica, I need you to call in. I need you to provide me this and provide me that. Everybody that lives at Alvarado Gardens is monitoring. The entity calling on the calling on the phone is monitoring audible activity. The entity also wants to be a distraction while I'm going through my cell phone and reviewing. This is ongoing corporate knowledge that they maintain while it is literally fruitless. It is feckless, okay? And it is also speaking to how long they're going to sit in federal prison. These literally are sick and psychotic individuals who are acting collectively while they're engaging in criminally surveilling one who is prosecuting them. All right? You will never forget the placement after you catch the phenomenon, and this is what the federal government is going to learn, and this also follows. Nobody is stupid, okay? Once you capture the phenomenon, you don't just forget that, and no federal court would do that. This is what the entity is trying to do right now, and the entity continuously does that. When I literally make, and forgive my speech, when I make an ass out of them, and you see, look at what I documented yesterday, what LAPD provided an ongoing wealth of corroborating evidence against the people of the state, which I don't even need, but it is a surefire prosecution. Everybody's going to federal prison. LAPD is going to be disbanded, and they're going to federal prison, and they'll never be able to fly anything in the sky space, nor will they have anything to do with law enforcement. And while they do the same exact thing on what's supposedly a cloudy day, it's light activity, and no federal government, no federal prosecution is going to remove or delete or forget the fact, nor does it contradict the fact that the targeted individual has captured that which is scientifically impossible to be the case. The sun rising and setting in alignment to my apartment. Sunlight appearing in my dark bedroom above the bedroom doorway. And it's also relevant what's occurring while that impossible light activity is present. I'm nude, okay? I'm taking a shower. I'm walking around in my apartment being molested with engineered light while the entity is stalking, just like you hear, in helicopters, and stalking by the demon-possessed who are in that deliberately maintained environment. Sex offenders who don't want you to know the substance of their behavior in that engineered environment. That's what that is. And you will never forget the documentation. That's why you capture it. Okay, so it is currently 11:11 a.m. This is evidence against the people of the state, those that engaged in that malice. You see Precious Bastillos holding the child of her hand, no way protected, while she's in the same exact environment, engaging in the same exact criminal system while they're monitoring documentation. All right, and that's the futility of it. It's demonstrating malice and impunity, and she's going to federal prison even longer. Okay, it is currently, again, 11:11 a.m., and this is P.O.C. This is criminal surveillance. All of Alvarado Gardens is monitoring. Oh, he's gone now? Okay, well, the entity is maintaining presence. The light source is still here, and you've already seen this day in and day out. It doesn't go anywhere. P.O.C.